Hi, my name is Martin Klemsa, and I'm a co-founder and head of research and development with Skolaris. Today I want to show you how to set up a very basic school in Skolaris. So let's start. Let me just log in. And once you log in, you will see this screen prompting you to create an organization. Organization is your school, so I will just create something called My School. And once your organization has been created, you're prompted to create a term. And a term is just a time span for which you're creating the timetable. So usually it's half a year maybe, or a semester. Depends on the country and the type of organization that you have. So my term will be just 2019, maybe spring 2019. And it will start 1st of February and it will end on the 31st of May. So now that I've created a term, I'm given the opportunity to create my time slots, which will be the matrix into which lessons will be placed. I will click populate here, and Skolaris gives me default matrix of 5 days and 7 periods, which I'm going to use as is. So I just save this and go back. And now I'm back on the dashboard, and without any further ado, I'll just start creating my class groups. Let's say I'm just going to have 2 class groups here, 1A and 1B. I have a chance to select a year group, but I haven't created any year groups because it's not really important for the purpose of this tutorial. Let's say my school has, or my class group has 30 students in it. And let's create 1B as well. Maybe 28 students. If I jump into the class group screen, I will see 3 tabs here. So the first tab allows me to define time slot availability. Let's skip this for now and go straight to lessons, because that's what we want to be creating. If I click create lesson, I'm not able to create any lesson because I haven't specified any subjects that are taught in my school. So let's go back and go to the subjects list. And I don't have any subjects, so I'll just click populate, and Skolaris will give me some list of default subjects which will be just fine for the purpose of this tutorial. Also, before creating lessons, it's probably good to put in some teachers that will teach those lessons. So let's put in a few teachers here. So maybe Blaise Pascal, who will teach mathematics, and Sir Francis Drake, who will be good in geography, Hermann Meyer, he'll be teaching German, Isaac Newton, who will be good for physics and maths maybe. Let's put in a famous Czech athlete, Jarmila Kratochvílová. She'll be teaching physical education, of course. Somebody to teach English. Maybe Professor Tolkien will be good. English teacher, and maybe one more physical education teacher. Another famous athlete, Sebastian Coe. That should be enough. I'm going to open each teacher in sequence and add their qualifications. So for Pascal, I'll put in maths. And I'm saving the data here by pressing Ctrl S to save time. Reduces some mouse movement and clicking. Francis Drake, geography. Hermann Mayer, definitely German and also physical education. Isaac Newton, maths, definitely physics. Kratochvilova, physical education. Professor Tolkien, English literature. And Sebastian Coe. I'll just put in physical education. Okay, so we've created some subjects, we've created some teachers. Didn't take very long, and we can go back to the class groups and start creating those lessons. So let's put in mathematics first, and they will have 5 lessons of maths per week taught by Pascal. You can see in this list that those teachers that have maths in their qualifications are marked as qualified, so it is actually easy to see which teachers can teach this particular subject. And just like that, we've created 5 lessons of maths. Let's add 2 lessons of geography. With Francis Drake. Let's also add 2 lessons of French, maybe even 3. Who will teach French? I think Blaise Pascal is qualified to teach French, even though we didn't put in the subject into his list of qualifications. That's not a big deal. Let's add 2 lessons of physics as well. With Isaac Newton. Let's add 5 lessons of English. With Professor Tolkien. And let's also add 3 lessons of biology with Jarmila, for example. Okay, we've got 20 lessons. Let's do a similar setup for the second class group. Maybe instead of biology, we'll put in some art. 3 lessons of art. Maybe Sebastian Coe can teach art. And put in some chemistry as well. 2 lessons with, I'm not sure, maybe Isaac Newton. Put in those 5 lessons of maths with Pascal. 5 lessons of English with Tolkien. Physics, twice a week. Newton. We've got 17, so let's put in 3 lessons of German with Hermann Meyer. There, 20 lessons, 20 lessons. Very simple. So now that we've created all the lessons, let's go back to the term screen for a while. Because we have to specify some settings that are specific for the school. And with this, the term configuration wizard will help us. So I'm just going to set up the class groups here. And I have to specify the time at which they want to start school. So let's suppose everybody starts right at the first period. And there are some limits like maximum periods per day and maximum consecutive periods, which I will not be we will not be using for this tutorial. And there's also a lunch break specification. Our demo school will not need that, so let me just turn that off. There's a similar setup for teachers, so I'm actually gonna go with the defaults here, but I recommend that you read all this carefully and set it up according to your particular school's requirements. And that's it. That completes the wizard. Just gonna wait while the data is being saved. That's done. And now I think we're ready to create our first timetable. So let's head to the timetables list, and you can see that no timetables have been created yet. So let's start. Clicking Create opens this timetable creation wizard. It is a very useful tool that not only will in the end create a timetable for you, but it also helps you with data analysis and helps you uncover errors and problems in your data. For a larger school, sometimes you don't enter everything correctly at the first try, so it becomes particularly useful because it helps you fix those data errors before trying to create your timetable. So you can see with the setup, very basic setup that I'm using, no problems have been detected, so I'm going to continue. The wizard gives me a chance to configure some aspects of the timetable here. I'm going to go with the defaults, but it's good to know that you have the opportunity to influence importance of some timetable, common timetable aspects right here in the wizard, and you don't have to worry about a location of the configuration elsewhere. So this is another analysis step that just quickly goes through the timetable data and tries to see if everything's okay. You can see that no problems have been detected. The last thing I need to do before the timetable creation can begin is enter the name of my new timetable. If you name each one with some meaningful name, like a new timetable here, for example, it will help you just organize them. Okay, and everything's ready for the timetable to be created. Because my setup is extremely easy, Skolaris will find the timetable quickly. In fact, when health is 100%, it means the timetable has already been found. But now it's just a matter of giving you the best timetable that Skolaris can find. So that's why the optimization is still running. You can see the elapsed time here. And while I was saying that, Skolaris decided that the timetable it has found is already the best and it cannot do any better. So let's close the wizard and actually inspect that timetable. So this is the main timetable screen. Let me just talk about the controls for a bit. This play button here allows you to start optimization again. We won't do it now because we've just left the wizard and the wizard has left us with the best timetable Skolaris could find at this moment. So let's actually see what other controls we have here. The eye icon opens some visual settings panel where you can adjust how the screen looks, apply some more colors, and show some more information in the lesson tiles, change the height of the tiles, collapse empty columns, and so on and so on. Then this gear opens optimization settings, and here, for example, you have the option to configure your constraints or reconfigure them, and some other options that you will certainly discover once you yourself are using Skolaris. This is a storage for timetable snapshots. So at any time I can click this, take a snapshot, and a snapshot will be recorded. And then no matter what happens to the timetable, like for example, if I do some manual changes, which you can do just by dragging and dropping, I can always load the snapshot back and my timetable will be restored to the point when the snapshot was taken. I also have the standard undo and redo controls here and some more options. Perhaps the most important numbers in the whole system are these two. This one is timetable health and this one is timetable fitness. Health denotes the timetable feasibility. So basically if all the hard constraints are satisfied, there are no clashes, for example, then the timetable health is 100% and that means the timetable is immediately usable. Fitness is something else that has to do with soft constraints. So, and I will explain that in a while, but let's just see why we have only 65% fitness here. And how to find out, we just click this this weight icon and it opens the health and fitness breakdown screen. And we can see broken constraints here, and these are soft constraints that are in the system by default. And so what's broken? Minimum teaching periods per day for teacher Francis Drake. When I click this constraint, it will open the timetable in question and I can see immediately what's wrong. When you take a look at the default teacher configuration, you can see that teachers actually have a minimum of 2 teaching periods per day. But we haven't given them enough lessons to be able to reach this minimum. So let me just change this to 0. And we can see that the fitness immediately jumps up to 97.7%. That means there's still some kind of a problem with the timetable that maybe could be solved. So let's open this breakdown again. And we can see that class group 1B has a bad subject sequence. So what's wrong there? And okay, so it means that maths and chemistry are in sequence, and they're both set up as a science subject. And again, by default, Skolaris will not place subjects of the same category in sequence. Let's try to fix this problem by running the optimization again. And we can see that this problem has been fixed immediately, and our timetable is now perfect. Just a quick overview of what else Skolaris is checking by default. For example, there was 5 lessons of English that we've put in, and 5 lessons of maths are all on different days, so there's not a day which would have 2 math lessons, for example, on that day. Also, check out the last subject for each day. You can see that it's different. So no teacher can complain that their subject is being pushed to the last slot in the timetable. For class group 1A, it will be the same. You can see the maths lined up nicely on different days. English also on different days, and the last subject every day is different. Also, you won't see physics and maths being taught in adjacent periods because they both have the science category. Okay, let's go back now. And maybe you're wondering about rooms. We haven't put in any rooms yet, so let's do that. For rooms to be put in, first we have to create a building or multiple buildings in which the rooms are located. So let's just create one building here to B1, and create 2 rooms, maybe 101, capacity 30, and also room 102, 30. And let's go back to the timetable. And because we didn't use rooms previously, we have to check the optimization settings to see if rooms are actually turned on here. You can see they are not, so I will turn them on. And when I do that, you will see our health drop down to 1%. So what happened? If I click the red bar under the lesson, it will give me a list of problems, and the problem here is that the lesson is not placed in a room. So how to solve that? Very easily. I will just press play, and Skolaris will take care of room assignments for me. So that didn't take very long, and now we can see that all the lessons are placed in rooms and there are no conflicts, obviously. But I want to create some physical education lessons as well, which we haven't done yet. For that, I'm going to split the class groups by gender to boys and girls. To do that, I have to go to the class group screen, to the divisions and subgroups tab, and create a new division. My gender. And then my 2 subgroups, which will be boys and girls. Boys and girls. So because I didn't pay attention and I didn't put in number of students when I was creating these subgroups, Skolaris is giving me the warning that the number of students in the subgroups doesn't actually equal the number of students in the class group. So let me just put in the correct numbers of students for these subgroups, which will be 15 boys and 15 girls. And let's do the same for class group 1B. So division by gender. And we have boys, which and again I forgot to put in the number of students, so let's just put in the number of girls correctly here, 14. And let's correct the number of boys, 14. Now I want to create a PE lesson, but for that lesson I need to combine boys from 1A and 1B, and I will also combine girls from 1A and 1B to take their lessons together. And how do I do that? I click this advanced button and go to teaching groups. You can see some teaching groups that have been created automatically by Skolaris. And I will create a new teaching group, which will be called 1 Boys. And in that group, I will merge the 1A boys and 1B boys. So you can see this group has 29 students. And I'll want this group to take PE lessons together, so I will create them immediately. And they will have 3 PE lessons. And the teacher will be Sebastian Coe. Now for the girls, I will create a new teaching group 1 Girls, in which girls from A and B will be merged. 1A girls, 1B girls. And they will also have 3 lessons of physical education. And the teacher will be Jarmila Kratochvilova. So what it did for the class groups, you can see that the number of periods increased. And when I go to the list of lessons for class group 1A, I will see physical education here with Jarmila Kratochvilova, and the column, the teaching group column, by which I can sort the list, by the way, will show me physical education for boys and physical education for girls. So that's fine, and it will be the same for 1B as well. Let's head back to the timetable. And because we've added new lessons, our health is down again, and those unscheduled lessons are here. Now I'm not going to place them manually, but I'm going to use the play button again. Because we've split those class groups to boys and girls, those lessons are actually taken simultaneously, and they will appear in the same slots in the timetables for both 1A and 1B, because they are actually the same lessons. We've merged the boys from 1A and 1B and the girls from 1A and 1B to take these lessons together. So our timetable is complete again, but there's one more problem, and that's the rooms. PE lessons should really not be in ordinary rooms, but they should be in a gym or out on a track. So let's create rooms called gym and track. And how to specify that PE should only be in these 2 rooms? Well, that's easy. And physical education. And let's put in some preferred rooms, which will be gym and track. And these rooms are actually required for physical education. So I'll just save this, go back, Go back to the timetable and press play again. Our timetable is complete. And that's all we wanted to do for today. So thank you for watching, and we will be preparing some more advanced tutorials in the near future. Have a good day. Bye.